Yeah, okay. Okay. So hello, Asabari. I am a unschooler as well, and I also like I'm an open learner, you might say. So like how's been the journey for you, like through not doing your 10th standard and like and open your own business. So like how was it for you?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Could you just repeat the question? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah. I want you to introduce yourself about like, what you do and about your journey and as in yeah.
Sure. So, I think very basic. I left conventional school when I was in the middle of my fifth standard, uh, and the real reason I would say are that I am on this journey is my parents. They themselves are educators, and they understood that realized that the education system is not giving me what it should be giving or what they want for me as parents, and so they took me out, and I did homeschooling for 6 months, and that's when they realized that they have the potential to kind of do this with other children, and they started their own learning space called Arohi. And I have so when they started that, I have been always part of that space. And Arohi is like a community for open learners. So since I would say 10 years, I have been an open learner. I have always learned. Just I remember as a child also just doing whatever I want to do, whatever interests me, that day get up in the morning and decide, okay, today this is what I want to do. And that's how I spent most of my, I would say, education, just doing things that I like to do. And I was an explorer. I loved doing a lot of things, and I did multiple things. And then when I came to the when I was around 16, 17, I started feeling the need of finding community of my age, because Arohi was primarily a space where there were a lot of children, and mostly I was always the oldest child among the group, which was not a problem. I used to I I I loved having peers of younger age. There was so much to learn, and there was I was much more free and playful with being with a group of younger age. But at the age of 17, I kind of felt like I would like to find a community of open learners of my age. And that's when I went to Swaraj, which is in Udaipur, which is an open learning, I don't know, but it was an open learning space for youth, for the older age group in Udaipur. They had a 2 year course, which I believe now they no more do because of the COVID situation. They have shut down, but they had a 2 year self-directed learning course, which I did. And so among all, like before Swaraj and during Swaraj and all of this, I took the decision that I will not take a degree. I will not appear for my 10th exam or take that route of a degree, because I felt like I do not need it. And I do not, basically, my thing was, I do not want to waste my time studying when I could be exploring and doing stuff that I love, and I enjoy and I learn so much from. So that was my simple reason. I did not feel the need to sit and study for a board exam, or and obviously if I take a 10th simple 10th certificate is useless. There has to be a 12th, and then there has to be college, otherwise there's no point. So I decided I do not want to go down that route. I would rather spend those years, that time, acquiring real life skills, really doing what I love. And somehow I always knew that whatever I would be interested in wouldn't really require a degree. There are some professions in our country and in the world that require a degree, but I had this intuition that I will not choose one of those professions. I will always choose something that can be easily done without having a degree. And so that's why I decided not to do one. And so after I came back from Swaraj, I I came back to stay with my parents, and here at Arohi we have a campus around 60 kilometers from Bangalore in a village. So I came back to stay here in the village with them. And 2 years ago, in 2019, if I'm right with the dates, I started Dhanak, which is basically during my time at Swaraj, I understood that I'm very passionate about environmental sustainability. That is where my true calling lies, as to uh, taking care of the earth, or more than that, yeah, just being just living in harmony with nature. And so when I came back, I initially started taking workshops for children and adults around environmental sustainability, but somehow that way did not connect fully with me. I felt like it became too much preachy in nature, and I started um, things started looking too black and white, right and wrong. So then I decided I want to manifest this passion of mine in a different way. And so I started a small business, an initiative called Dhanak, where I started making my own products, mainly personal care products, natural, with are made out of natural ingredients. And then I sell them on social media. So for the last 2 years, that's what has been my journey completely, all day, every day. That's the only thing I am into Dhanak, into working on learn. I didn't know a thing about running a business. I actually, before 2 years, if you would ask me, I would have never imagined myself as a person who would be an entrepreneur or who would run a business. But it happened, and I think because of being an open learner all my life, I had this, it was easy for me to pick up and learn whatever needed to be learned to run the business. And there's still so much more to learn. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And of course, the pandemic has caused some ups and downs in that. 2 or 3 years, I'm not very good with dates, so I'm not very sure about that. And right now, I'm in a point of time in my life where the whole pandemic and a lot of other things that have happened, I want to kind of take a step back. So I am closing not, I wouldn't say closing, but taking a long break. By the end of the month, I'm closing the business for going for a course, which is at the Isha Ashram in Coimbatore. For 9 months, I'm going to go live there because I want to take a step back and explore a little bit of my spiritual journey. Or I don't even know if spiritual feels like a very heavy word. So I would just say inner journey, or just figure out some real questions of life before then I want to come back and then see how things flow. So that's a very short version of my journey till today. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Asawil, for that. I wanted to ask something. Like when you were in ROE and staying with your parents, like what did you do? Like, did you pursue anything, or did you see like just keep searching for some new interest? I mean, what exactly did you do like the whole day? Like when you don't have like, anything main to do. So like how did you explore? How did you find out?
So I would say my learning style changed over the time. Initially, after I immediately left school, I still used to use the textbooks to find topics. So I would pick up the NIOS textbooks and find chapters that would interest me. And then using those topics, my parents would also give me some activities or interesting ways to explore. Like I remember learning Hindi by writing letters to my relatives and stuff like that. So initially it was, I wouldn't say it was complete open learning. It was more like fun homeschooling, you can say. But it's yeah, that's how it started. And then soon my parents realized that I was becoming too constrained with the textbooks, and so we threw those out, and we're like, okay, now what is it that you want to explore? And basically I remember just taking up topics or projects that would interest me and doing them. So some of the projects that I did was I wrote a small story and then I published it as a small book. So the whole process of writing the story and the hours of editing it and illustrating it and all of that. Then I remember setting up a vegetable shop for 3 days outside before we used to live in Bangalore. So I sold vegetables for 3 days, and I did, and then I remember also just picking up topics that would interest me and exploring them. That I remember once I was intrigued about the different ways we have, different cultures have different kind of marriages, and I researched about that and I made a presentation. Or I remember watching a lot of videos about atoms, because atoms was a topic that looked very interesting. So I used I used to just keep finding things that I was curious or interested about, and pick them up and do learn them. And of course, because there was a lot of exposure around me, my parents and Arohi itself exposed me to so many things. Automatically the curiosity kept getting picked up with different things, and I slowly also started taking bigger projects. Like I even when we shifted from the city to the village, we had to do the construction work here. So one of the community kitchen, I took up the project. I designed the whole thing. I figured out the concept. I took care of the whole construction and all of that. So that was a huge project that I took for around a year, and there was a lot of learnings around that. So I think I did a lot of project based learning and a lot of interest based learning. And yes, there was a phase where I decided that I want to become a dancer and an artist. So around for a year, I did a lot of serious work on that. I did a lot of classes. My parents gave me access to the best, very good dance teachers and art teachers, and I did a lot of work on that. And then I realized that no, this is not what I want to do. So then I dropped that. I still love dance and art, but like a very small side thing, not really the main thing that I want to pursue. Yeah, so
So I mean, like everything is is like a trial and error. I mean, you
trial
try
and error.
something and then you like don't feel like doing it anymore. Like that also did it. Like for me also, like I used to dance as well, and I thought, yeah, like I could do some other art form, but like I saw a few videos for 2 3 weeks and then I just stopped
Yeah,
because as it didn't call me that much as well.
yeah.
And yes, and also like I also like learn from the internet, like mostly whatever like finds me, whatever like calls me, or like whatever I find interesting, like, I just search it on Google, and like I have like thousands of sites and videos on it. So like that's how I learn. Like sometimes with textbooks I like as well, like I'm doing NIOS as well, but yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and also so your life at Swaraj, like I mean I've heard about it a lot, like that it's a very good space, it can help you for the future. So what exactly like happens there? I mean, what do you do? I mean, like how do they help you pursue something in your future?
Okay. So so Swaraj has a, or I would still use, I would say had, because I have no idea what is happening over there right now. But they had a 2 year program in which what would happen was that there would be a batch of people who would come together, and all of us have the common goal is Swaraj University is at Udaipur, in Udaipur, not Jodhpur, but same state. So we would basically we were a group of young people, all of us wanting to not just find our passion but also see how we want to make that as our living or as our life. And all of us were at different stages. Me, for example, I think I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do, and I didn't have much skills as to how I can manifest that into the world. And I would say there are three aspects to the to the program. One is that we meet together on the campus. They also have a campus a little outside of Udaipur on a farm. So we all would come together on that farm as a batch with our facilitators, and together we did a lot of processes. We went through a lot of processes on really understanding ourselves better, understanding this world and society better, and community building, and a lot of other things. And then we did what is called as mentorships. We call it mentorships, but you can say internships or apprenticeships, which I felt were very helpful, because the first mentorship that I first thought that I was interested in education. I felt like I want to become a facilitator, like my parents, and I'm interested in education. So I stayed in a school in Goa for 2 weeks as an intern. But then I realized that no, maybe it's because of my parents I'm feeling so influenced, and that's not fully what I want to do. So then the next mentorship that I went for was then I thought, I have a dream to start my own cafe. I still like baking cakes and a lot of other things. So I decided, okay, cafe sounds like a good idea. And so I interned at a community cafe called Pagdandi in Pune for 2 weeks. I was there at Pagdandi for 2 weeks, and I really enjoyed that. But then when I finished those 2 weeks, I was like, you know what? Hey, this is not really what I want to do. I love baking, but let me eat the cakes. I don't want to serve them to anyone. So then, so like that, I did I would say the internships and mentorships were really nice, because I would identify what is it that I'm interested, and I would go and actually experience that in real life, like not just do it at home, but actually go out and do it. And I felt like that was anyway the age for me to travel, for me to explore, to meet a lot of people. In those 2 years, I've met so many people, I've made so many friends. So that was so amazing and we also went on learning journeys. So this was just, there were times when I would travel alone, but we also traveled as a batch. So all of us in the batch together would travel to places and meet people, and I would be get inspiration and understand how the world works. Like we went to Chhattisgarh, um, and we stayed there, and we understood the whole Maoist movement and how there the tribals live, and we met a lot of tribals, and that was more of an experience of social justice, I would say. But it was very, very interesting, because otherwise we travel, like I have always traveled as a tourist, like no, but we traveled as people who are looking to learn, and we live with the communities and learn from them, and actually experience the place not as a tourist, but as a learner. So that these were, I think, some of the things that was then Swaraj. And another thing was that as a batch, as a community, we were really I would say of course, we were friends. That was great. I found lots of good friends, but we were also a lot of big support to each other in our journey. We would not, and of course, support not only in the good ways. We would, like challenge each other or ask those hard questions, those difficult questions that, hey, you're being lazy, those kind of things. So that community kind of really helped me to grow as a person. And it still does. It still exists around me, those people, even though we're far. So yeah, that's what has been my experience of 2 years at Swaraj.
Even I wanted to start a cafe. Like, I mean, I still want to like a restaurant types. Like, so that's why I'm like pursuing my 10th, like, so I can get into a college, and then I can build my own. Yeah, but like you have like changed my thinking that like, okay, maybe Swaraj can help me do it. Like they can do it as well. And I'm also in ROV as well, in that online community. So like it's also a very good platform where like I have people to talk to, and like I can learn stuff over there as well, as you learned from your journey to the Chhattisgarh or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know about the legal stuff, but I'm sure Sumit, you can start a restaurant or a cafe without getting a legal.
Yes. Yeah.
And if not Swaraj, there are many places and people that can support you to do that, including Arohi, of course. But I'm
Yeah.
not completely sure about the legal stuff. So that's something you'll have
Yeah,
to.
like I mean, like I one more reason I took 10th was because of the legal stuff for a passport and an Aadhaar card, like everything we need something or the other, like some educational rights. So like that's why I took that. And that's why I took the 10th, like for that itself. Yeah. And was it like hard for to like say no to 10th, and like how was it like for you to not do 10th but still get like your passports and all? Like did you get some like legal information or without any education or like
It
the
was
pass?
no,
Yeah.
it was not at all difficult. I have all my legal you can say cards, I don't know what you say,
Okay.
identities. Yes, I got my passport very easily. Of course, they do ask, and if you mention you're not educated, it's not like they make a big deal out of it. So I got everything legally. And actually, if you see, most a lot of India is uneducated, but that may or may, I'm not talking of it being a good thing or a bad thing. That's not for me to judge, but that doesn't mean you cannot get your legal like I have my driving license, I have my passport, everything. I mean, there's nothing that I haven't got access to. Though I have heard there's some states where you can't get a driving license, but I'm not very sure of that. Though I know in Karnataka, I could get my license.
Have you ever thought of like going into college and being like living that college life, but like you missed that? Like people say like the college life is the best part of your journey, and you have to go there and all. And like I mean, how did you deal with that? Like did you want to, or did you like not exactly didn't want to go like that and experience that?
It, even some people talk about school life, and if you ask most people what was great about school or college, they'll say the friends, the partying, those kind of stuff. So why would you waste your money and effort to go to school and college just to have a good time with your friends? I mean, that I can find friends and have a good time with them without having to go to school or college. So I think it's stupid. If not for anybody else, I'm not judging anyone, but I think it'll be stupid if I go to college just to experience that fun of living outside home and living with your friends and all of that. I did find that in some ways in Swaraj, but I can find it through different ways, and I don't have to do that in college.
And like also like people say that like college will like no, not college actually, like I mean it will help you get better at this and that, and it will give you more opportunities to and do all, but you have a whole thing right now. So how did you do that? I mean,
um I'm not saying that college will not give us good experience or not give us good set of skills and all of that, but because personally I did not feel the need to have to study through that. I felt like I could do that on my own. Like so that's when I have decided, if and because I know I have the capabilities and resources to do it. For example, with the work that I'm doing around natural products, there's so much that I need to learn or so much that I need to understand, even if it around chemistry, around Ayurveda, around so many other things. And I'm doing that, like you said, there's so much resources on the internet, and there's so many people also who are willing to teach outside of college. I mean, we don't have to only learn from a professor. There's so many people who are willing to share and teach outside of college. And I think I learned a lot by my real life experiences, by interning, by mentoring, by meeting people, and also by actually doing it. I feel like how much ever I would learn in a business school, by actually being in business, I learned a lot. Because by actually interacting with customers, by actually making the products and using them, I mean selling them, that those experiences taught me so much. And I didn't necessarily feel the need of a business school to kind of run a business. And also recently I've been, understanding the league. Like now that I want to grow Dhanak, once I come back from the course, I want to make, right now it's a very small thing that I was doing from my home, like, a very small home-based business. But I feel like now I want to grow it and establish it. And so I was just this week, sorry, I was looking into the legalities of it. And that's why I also wanted to share this with you, Sumit, because I saw that, okay, you need certain education affiliations in the work. Like you need to be a pharmacist if you're running a skincare business, or an Ayurvedic doctor and stuff like that, which requires a degree. But I also learned that I don't have to have it. If I hire two people who are having those degrees, then it's fine. I as the owner of the skincare business can still continue. So that I was like, there's so many people who have already taken their degrees. Why should I take it? I will invite them into my team, and I can continue as a legal establishment. Of course, there are a lot of work to it, and that I would like to do to kind of grow the business. But I just wanted to share that there is a way to do things. There's not like we have to do it illegally just because you don't have a degree or stuff like that. Yeah. I hope I answered your question, Sumit. I think Sumit is not here.
Yeah, I think it just dropped out because of the network connection.
Yes.
So Savri, while he's gone, I'll just kind of thought when you said, during your school years, you tried, learning through different books and then experience. So how did that, transition kind of come about, and what was the impact? Because I do know that you have a younger brother. So how was it for the family to kind of, make that transition?
So my younger brother never went to school. I always tell him he's the more lucky one because I have 5 years of conditioning. He has 0. I always tell him he's the lucky one. He never went to school because initially my parents used to run a preschool, which was very, like a lot connected to what they work with now. So he went to my parents' preschool, and then by the time he was in the age to come to school, they had already understood that the education system is not what they wanted. And so he is that way always been an open learner, and in a way he has never touched a textbook in his life. I mean, I'm sure he has used one. I'm not so sure about that, but he was never given a textbook as that you have to learn this and this. And I think he is one of the biggest examples in my life to see that a person can be very successful, very happy. He's of course 16 right now, but I know that I would say he's well educated that way. He knows his stuff, he knows life, he knows everything, and whatever he needs, he knows how to learn it. So I feel like he's one of the biggest examples as to how one does not need school to. Even some people think that we need to go to school or to pick up textbooks to learn the basic stuff like maths or English or reading or writing or the basic science or all of that. But like Sumit was saying, one today with internet, you don't really need textbooks. I think the internet is far more richer. There's so many wonderful videos and so many. Of course, there can be a downside to it, but basically, I'm saying my brother learned everything without a school, and he learned it at his pace. And he learned reading when he wanted to. Initially, he didn't really want to learn reading, but he loved listening like stories and stuff like that. But soon when he realized that these people, they sit on the computer and they type stuff and it comes, and he doesn't know how to type because he doesn't know how to read and write. So then he decided to learn to read and write, and he had his own reasons to kind of do that, and he learned it on his own pace. And same for any other skill, I would say. Yeah.
Yes, Sumit, go on. Sorry, we just kind of filled in while you were away.
Yeah. I got disconnected like some Wi-Fi issues. Yeah. Well, I left school like when I was like in 7th standard or something.
Mhm.
And I left school because I did not really like school that much. I mean, it was fun. Friends were there. It was kind of too much on the portion and all. And also the main fact was hate towards bullying, and also that's the main reason I left school. So when I entered to homeschooling, I mean, um, the first year, I was really finding my way across, what to do as in I didn't know clearly what to do, and how to, what to do. I was really bored the whole day. And yes, so the first 2 year, the first 1 year was very, grabbing all my interest together, and bring it all together. And then yeah. And then we also started into the NIOS thing. So I'm currently trying to study for the 10th exam. We have not really seen what's about how it happened in COVID times. But um normal things is that whenever you have to give an exam, you have to go to a center, and over there you can give your exam and all. And yeah, so that's how I'm giving my 10th exam. um and yeah, and also I have joined the community ROV, as Asavari was saying that she had a to find a community in that. So I also have many friends in that, and I have also some separate friends who I play games with. And in that community, I host clubs, I take part in clubs, I host, I facilitate, I learn many things. And I'm also building a website and doing everything in the community with the other people as well. Yes, so I mean, that's kind of my journey, as I would say. Yeah. And yeah, and really looking forward to, going to college, and opening my own cafe, perhaps, if that time is there. I mean, I don't know, future maybe robots. Yeah.
Well, I do see all the lovely photos of the food you cook, Sumit. So I do look
Yeah.
forward to eating something someday.
Yes, yeah, I have plans to come to ROE as well, when it opens up. And then over there, I can meet others physically, and not virtually, as you might say.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm. We can move ahead with the questions, maybe. We can, or any other questions you want to ask, or Vasavi or me.
Okay. So yeah, Savali, would you like to share something, or are you happy to take questions from our audience, our
No,
viewers?
yeah, we can take questions.
Okay. So people, I mean, if you're ready with your questions, please, unmute yourselves and ask.
Aswari, I have a question for you. Do
Mhm.
you think that your parents being Ratnesh and ma'am was one of the reasons that you are so confident about this unschooling journey and not taking up exams and things like that?
I think, of course, I think it's not because they're Ratnesh and Aditi, it's because they both have been very accepting of me and of my journey. And which I think that does, you don't have to be them to do that. As parents, whether whether they are educators or not, kept aside, they both have always been very accepting of not just me and my brother both, and of course all the other children that they work with. But as if we keep them aside, as educators, as parents, they've always been very accepting, and they believe in me and my brother completely. And that has given both of us a lot of strength and confidence. I feel that just having to know that your own parents are completely accepting and they believe in you, just that I think is very important. And that has nothing to do with who they are professionally or what they do professionally. Yeah.
Actually, that's a wonderful answer. I really loved it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, people, I have a question here. I've received it personally. Just a moment. I would like to direct it. Okay. So someone has asked, what is the difference between an unschooler and say a child who does not have access to basic education, say a slum dweller or street children who have to sell things and work at a young age in spite of being against the law, the child labor laws and so.
Okay.
You heard it. You heard it.
Yeah. I think the difference is that an unschooler is doing it by choice. That is the difference. And the unschooler is, and as an unschooler, when I am going out in the world and doing work, or I'm doing it with the perspective of wanting to learn and not with the perspective of having to do it because I have to kind of fend for my family. And I personally don't think that just because we are unschoolers, it's a good thing that there are children who don't go to school. That's not what I personally feel, because of course they should be given the opportunity to be open learners, but not what they are doing right, what they are being living, not the circumstances that they're living in right now, because then they're not really being given the space to experience and explore their true potential. They are having to do it out of financial burden and societal burden, which is not exactly what an unschooler is. I would say an unschooler is a child who's led to live, to explore his or her true potential. And I don't know. So maybe you want to add something?
Like, I didn't really understand the question properly. I mean, yeah, like, I just repeat it again. Like, I couldn't understand it properly. Like, what was the question? I couldn't get what you mean.
Okay. So the question was, what is the difference between an unschooler and slum children, the street children? Okay, the financially deprived children. So aren't they doing whatever they want to? So what is the basic difference between an unschooler and them?
I mean, like, sometimes like they're forced to work for the family, and they don't really get to do what they want, as Savai said. So I mean, like, they are being forced, and like they're being set it right, and not being like a free bird, or you might say. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. It's more out of choice and the will to be free than so yeah, that's what we hear from both of you. Another question which Meenal is asking is, her family says that being a mom to a boy, you have to give him education to earn a reputed job and run his family. It's a risk if she keeps her child at home and do homeschooling. So both set of her family believes that the boy will be the bread earner tomorrow and needs to get a job and needs to be highly educated. So what do we have to, say to this?
So I don't know exactly what to answer to that, but definitely yes, it is. I know a lot of people who do struggle with getting acceptance from the family for choosing this kind of a path. I know my parents did have to initially struggle with my extended family as to taking me out of school and doing something that generally is not done in the society. But that is the problem, that right now that's education and all of this is such a big status quo, that if you are not having a degree in your hand, you are not respectable in the society. That is kind of the problem that maybe we as unschoolers are trying to break by saying that we don't need a degree, or even if we have a degree, that's not showing the worth that we have. And it with family, I would say it would take a lot of conversation, and not a conversation where you're not saying they are wrong, I am right, but really listening to them and also sharing your point of views, and really sharing why you want to do homeschooling for your child. I may not be the best person to answer this. I think my father may be better to answer this, but I'm just sharing whatever I know. And yeah, also giving them examples, because there's so many unschoolers who do have very good, they are do, as if you say monetarily, they're doing very good in terms of success. If you define success as to how much money they're earning, there are multiple examples of individuals, including myself, who we are able to earn our living very easily through the work that we love to do, despite not having a degree or a so-called education. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And I also feel, I mean, hearing it from you that, since Sumedh is also pursuing NIOS, that we do have options, right? If we are homeschooling. So Sumedh, I mean, would you like to kind of share a bit on that from that perspective?
I mean, if he wants to do a job, I mean, like he can just do NIOS. I mean, like it's a very easy thing. I mean, you just choose like some subjects and you have to pass the exam. I mean, like then you can do that through unschooling while also you're trying to pursue your interest. Like I am also doing while I am trying to do animation, while I'm trying to do cooking as well. So I mean, you can do that too, like that.
Sumedh, do you kind of just explain a bit, how does NIOS work so that, people do get an idea? I think they do have a website, right?
Yeah, they do have a website. I can share the link in chat.
Right.
NIOS, like it's like National Institute of Open Learning. So over there, we can do our 8th standard exam, our 10th and our 12th. So like all these three can be done in a order. So I mean, you have to pass 8th on the 10th and 10th for 12th. That's like that. And yeah, and 14+ year old boys and girls can do 10th, and below that have to do 8th and then do 10th, as in that. And yeah, and they give you like 5 subjects to no, they give you a whole big list of subjects, and then you can choose 4 subjects and 1 language the in the list. And if you want to take more, you can always take more, like how many ever you like. So after you have done that, then you have to register like some months before the exam, so you can actually take it like in the next coming months. So yes, and and they give you the books and their site link and the YouTube link, and they have made like thousands of videos on topics in the book as videos for those who can't learn from the book itself, and they need some teachering, as you might say, as I might say, yeah, teachering or something. Yeah. Yes, and yeah, that's NIOS in a very short story.
And I do want to add that one of a very beautiful thing I think about NIOS is that there's no upper limit of taking the exam. So even if you are at the age of 40 and you feel like you want to take your 10th exam, and it's a government thing, so it's the National Institute of Open Schooling, so it's a government affiliated board, and homeschoolers can also take the other boards. They are homeschoolers who have taken IGSE, and I'm not very good with
Yeah.
the names, but the other boards that are there, homeschoolers have taken those boards also. So I think there is actually, as a homeschooler, we have a lot more options
Yeah.
than there are options to take an iOS. The other boards even go abroad, and abroad are very accepting about, now homeschooling is becoming a more and more known concept, and a lot of colleges and schools abroad are very accepting of this concept, and even in India, but definitely abroad, I know. So there are a lot more options as an homeschooler. And just one last thing that I would like to add to this question is that when there is no guarantee that just because you did college, you're going to get a good job, or you're going to get respect, or you're going to be successful. So just as there's no guarantee with the degree, there is no guarantee without a degree also. So I think all of us are living the same life, we're taking the same risks. It's just that we're doing a little differently. So it looks like we're taking more risk, but actually, as safe as education looks, it's not, especially in pandemic with so many people losing their jobs, even though they have well respected degrees and well respected education. I think it's easier to understand that it's not the degrees that matter, but it's more about my skills,
The
my passion.
experience.
Yes, and even my community. Yeah.
Can I ask question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. This question is to Ashwari. I want to know that what was when you became unschooling after fifth, what was your schedule? Like, is there your parents used to teach you something, or how you proceed?
No, my parents never taught me anything. But they were always there when I wanted help. So they never sat down and taught me anything. But if I wanted to learn something from them and I approached them, they did always teach me. And as far as schedule goes, I would say that I always created the schedule, and it evolved. Like, I would decide my schedule for that week, and then so reflection and planning were two important aspects of my learning. I would plan my day, my week, even my month as to what are the things that I want to do this month or this week, and then I would also plan my day, create my schedules. And then I would also periodically reflect as to, okay, I decided this, and how's that going, what are the challenges, what are the good stuff happening, so the good, what is it that I need to improve. So I felt that process of planning and reflecting really helped me to create schedule and work with it, because I cannot give you an exact schedule because it changed. It changed over the time, and as such it was not a very 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 different schedule as to what anyone would live as simply in their life, morning to night, whatever are the different things we do. The only thing was there was nobody else telling me what to do, but I was slotting the time. Okay, at this time I want to explore this, and at this time I want to do this. I think the schedule part Sumit can answer also. How does he decide his schedule and decide his day?
No,
Um,
my question will be: is that you said that you were also with Arohi and all this thing? So is that Arohi was giving some maths detail, or because the you must have learned maths somehow somewhere. So just want to know how you learn the maths, or is there any institute like what you said about Arohi or Swaraj was there?
So before I answer that question, I want to ask you, Samir, why are you asking me from where did I learn maths? Why are you not asking me from where did I learn to recognize my feelings, or from where did I learn to cook, or from where did I learn to garden? Why is it that maths is such an important subject in my life? Why not ask me where did I learn how to speak English or how to speak Hindi? I mean, there's so many aspects of life, there's so many subjects, if you would like to call it. And why is maths or science or English the most important thing? It's just I will answer your question, but I just want to ask you this, because
No, it is because because I asked, because it's just a day to day where you will need, and
but don't you
I am
need
just
feelings? Don't you need to know how to cook? Don't you
Yes,
need
yes,
to
yes,
know how
yes,
to
yes.
then why not that? That's also day
Yeah,
to day. I
yeah,
don't
that
think
is all. Yes, yes, that thing is has to be there. That has to be there. What you like, but this is also part of your
no
day-to-day life.
cooking. I don't like cooking, but I have to cook or I can't fill my stomach. So
No, no, I'm saying
I
about the maths.
no, but if I cannot cook, see, if I don't know maths, I can still live. I know hundreds of people who, my own grandmother has never gone to school. She doesn't know maths, so-called maths, but she's living very peacefully. But if she doesn't know how to cook, she can't fill her stomach. If she doesn't know how to deal with her feelings, she doesn't know how to deal with conflicts, she doesn't know how to talk to her family, she can't live happily. So I'm just trying to question the fact that math, science is like so important, but there's so many other things that are not important. And as far as maths is concerned, if you really look at it, the day-to-day maths that you need is very less. You just need to know addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and basic. So Sumer is agreeing with me. Basic accounts. You need to know basic stuff of how, if how, unless your career or your profession or your interest asks for it, unless that, otherwise you just need the basic stuff, and that you do not need a textbook. You will learn it. A child will learn it out of their own curiosity, out of their own thing. And when they need to learn the finer points, like, okay, how do you do these sums and all, I'm not saying textbooks are bad, I'm not saying learning from a teacher is bad. There are, and as Umaid was saying, there are videos, there's so many places that a child or anybody who wants to learn a concept, whether it's maths or science, I can go learn. And as far as advanced math skills goes, if that is what that is, I think that there's a difference between I want to learn maths and I have to learn maths. When I have to learn maths, it's all about just somehow mugging it up and somehow learning it. But if suppose, let's say Sumed is interested in cooking, right? If now when he is learning cooking, if the concept of ratio and proportion comes up, then out of curiosity he goes up on the internet, or he goes to his mom and asks, what is the meaning of ratio and proportion, or how do you calculate percentages, or how do I convert fractions to decimals, or whatever is it that he comes across. Then he will go to ask his mom, and his mom is not going to be like, I can't teach you, you're an unschooler, go to hell. That's not what she's going to say. She's like, okay, let's learn it together. Maybe we'll use a textbook, maybe we'll look at a video, but I don't need to go to an institution. I mean, there are enough resources to learn. And if maybe I want to learn something very advanced in maths or very advanced in science, then why not? I can take a tuition or I can learn from someone. There's so many people. I'm sure there'll be someone in my own family who'll be ready to teach me. Or like in Arohi, there's so many parents. I can ask someone to learn. I'm sure Sumit can ask someone to learn if he wants to learn something that is there. But I would say that as an unschooler, the resources are unlimited. Not just as an unschooler, anybody. But today, if you, Samir, want to learn about a topic or you want to learn a skill, the resources are unlimited. It's only that you want to learn it, so you will learn it. If you have to learn it, it may be difficult to do that. Yeah, that's what I think. Sumedh, if you want to add something.
Ashwari, I really appreciate your answer. Your fundamental is very strong. And I really, what you did correct. So I really like your confidence that, you are not wrong what you did. And you convinced me what exactly you did. So nicely answered. You can just ask the second part if Sumedh want to add something, and then you can ask the second part that.
I think she has told everything. I mean, I can't add anything else. Okay, I guess.
Hi, Giri here.
I think just 1 minute. I think Samir had a second part to his question, and then
So I already asked that you said about that Swaraj was some institute is there or Arohi was there. So was there with you after when you were on school, Arohi or something like that?
No, Arohi is an open learning community of open learners. So it's not after school or before school kind of a space, but I would say it's instead of school. Did that answer your question, Samir?
Yeah, I got it. It was instead of school. So did you join that? I mean, I would have to ask, is that after your unschooling, is that you were following them?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, Sumit, do you want to answer that?
like answering like is for life. Like I mean, like open learning is for life. I mean, like nobody can just stop open learning like at any point. Like once you're open learner, I mean, like you can like I mean you are a open learner like throughout. I mean, I mean you can't like just be like okay fine 5 years मैंने answering किया now I move to homeschooling. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Like it is just like I mean I hope I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but also to just add to that, for something for you to give you clarity, Arohi or Swaraj as an institution is like it's like a part of your unschooling journey. It's not like it's either unschooling or Arohi or any other open learning community, or it's not either or, it's together, and the community will add to your learning process. That's all. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so it was not what we understood, because we all went through a school. So just to understand, it is kind of things which help you to go ahead with the journey. It was not a kind of institute which will give you a say weekdays homework or something like that, that you have to do this in this week, this is your homework. So not like that.
No.
Or you can just give a brief idea about Arohi, whatever.
No, you can imagine that Arohi or Swaraj is like, instead of I as an unschooler being alone in my journey with just my family, it's a group of 20 to 30 families who are in their unschooling journey together, and we are supporting each other. Like how Sumedh was saying, he's playing games with some of the children, he's cooking with some of them. I think they get together and cook together online is what I know, if I'm not wrong, and they are doing some website work together. And so it's like, you can imagine like how an extended family, if there's a joint family living together, each of them are living their individual lives, yet they all are living together. You can say that's how Arohi is for a joint family of unschoolers, or Swaraj is a joint family for unschoolers. Yeah, I think
Thank you.
Somebody else was asking a question.
Hi, this is Giridhar here. Just got one question. How about socializing? So my son is not so good in socializing. So whether the Arohi or the open schooling or the homeschooling, how exactly it will help us in the socializing? That's what my question is.
Sumit, you want to answer that?
Like socializing, like for me, like as I left school, like I still kept in touch with my school friends, but like I still needed like some peers to hang out with. So like I we went to this like unschooling thing, like a small convention or something, where like a lot of unschooling families were there, and over there we met some people like who stayed with us, and like they were my friends for a couple of years. And also then my best friend also like was like homeschooling, so we also like so okay, like I had friends. And then one day my mom showed me a video of my friend Jayanit, like showing that like he plays Minecraft and all, and he would like to play games with me. So I called him up, and then he introduced me to his too. So that's how like I met my own friends. And also like I mean, whenever you're in a community, like I mean I've and I've made like a lot of new friends there, like kids, teens, adults, like everyone. Like I talk to like basically every day, like through clubs or through chat. So I mean, for me, like I got friends like after like 1 year or so. After, yeah, like when I started unschooling, yeah, that's kind of, and yeah.
I would just add that learning how to socialize is, I would say, a life skill, and that that is something that we keep learning. Even as adults, we're not perfect. We still are learning how to be in relationships or how to be in conversation with our, friends and family. So to expect that a child will be perfect in socializing, whether or not he or she is going to school in, like even children who go to school may find it difficult to socialize. I feel putting that expectation on a child is too much. Everyone is different and everyone's way of connecting with people is different. And like in Sumed's example, he wanted friends and slowly he found them. I'm not saying that he found them the day he decided he wanted friends, but he found them. And same for me, when I wanted friends, I found them. I found those people who I can connect and socialize with. So I would say that whether you're an unschooler or you go to school, it doesn't matter. Socializing is something that will happen on its own, and each of us learn about it in our own way. Yeah. Okay, so there are two questions on the chat. The first one about Swaraj, Meenal, one is that right now Swaraj is not running, so I have no idea as to what it is and whether they will start running again. So you'll have to check that. And otherwise, it's a 2-year program that you can do. That 2-year program that they had was for the age of 18 to I think 25 or 28. I don't remember exactly. The second question, Sumed, would you like to answer that first?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, my brother Sarthak also, like, I mean, he went to junior KG for like 1 year, and then we like unschooled him as well. I mean, like, he also is unschooling now, and like he mostly learned through English by talking to us and like also watching YouTube videos, like all those English YouTube channels. Like he used to watch them like daily on a daily basis, and he still watches them. So he learns English through that, and through many different apps on his tab. He learns through like that reading app, or like any channel which uses English as their main talking language or like that. And one more thing, I mean, like, try speaking to him like in English, like a bit by bit, and then then slowly like increase that, and then like he slowly learn maybe. Yeah.
I would add that in open learning or unschooling, one of the core beliefs that I think is important is to believe that the child is capable and the child can learn whatever he or she wants to learn. So if right now your child does not know English, there's nothing wrong about that. That's fine. If she's good in Kannada and she's able to speak in Kannada, that's fine. And as and when he or she feels the need, they will learn it. When I want to learn something, I will learn. Like, for example, I'm sure you've experienced, if your child wants a toy or they want a chocolate, they have their way of getting it. So they know how to get things that they want. So if they know how to get the toy or chocolate, they know that when they want to learn English or they want to learn maths, they will find a way to do it. And if you feel it's important that your child learns English, like Sumit was saying, it's good to expose them. There's so many ways. Stories, movies, songs are amazing ways to learn language. I would say they're far more enjoyable than learning from a textbook. But watching movies and songs that are in English, or when I wanted to learn Hindi, I listened to a lot of songs in Hindi. So that's always more enjoyable than learning through a textbook. Anybody else has any more questions?
Okay, I would like to ask a question. So it's directed to both. I just want to know, at the age of between 12 to 15, for example. So if you just could reflect back and think where others, the extended family and other people feel when you're unschooling yourself as a child, okay, when you're unschooling yourself, you're just doing what you want to. And there are times like my son, he's only doing Minecraft, like as soon as he wakes up till he sleeps. So people feel, everyone, including me, so we feel that they're not doing something productive. They're not doing something, which the general people like, the correct thing, maybe the correct thing. So when you're doing that, whatever, it may be cooking, it may be just cooking that you're every day interested, day in and out, interested in cooking. So at that point of time, how did you all, both of you, feel about your future? When people say future may, what are you going to do? What is your future? So at that point of time, what did you think about the future? What did the term future mean to you? Were you anxious about it, or were you like, it's okay if we are doing something right now with we are very passionate about something right now, we'll be passionate about the same thing later on. So what did the term future mean to you? That's what I want to ask you. And Sumit, for you, some years back, just go 2 years back, and you could just think, whatever you're doing right now, did you anticipate all these things and your entire journey, was I audible?
I was never like anxious about the future. Like I mean, like I just like I had a dream, and like I didn't like I just like tried to research somewhat, like and I didn't take it in a very serious way. I just thought, yeah, okay, I'll see in the future like, what will I do, like some number like that. But like my initial thing was to open my own restaurant, as I said. Yeah, and I wasn't anxious, and yep.
For me, there were times that I would think or wonder about my future, and was there. I would not say I've never felt anxiety around it. I have, but one thing that I've realized is everyone feels this, like in their own ways. I'm not but everyone thinks about the future, has questions. Some people are confident about it, they're stressed. Like my mother told me the story about how when she finished her 10th and how she was stressed about her future. And what she was basically trying to tell me is that just because I didn't do 10th, that doesn't mean that I'm the only one who would be stressed about my future. And that's when I realized that whether you are an unschooler or whether you are not, everyone is a human being. So we all will go through our ups and downs. We will feel worried about the future. We will feel confident also. Like Sumedh looks very confident about it because he has a dream and he's doing it. So I feel worrying about the future is very normal, and there's nothing to do with unschooling or not. When even if you are in school, you would worry about your future or think about your future. So that isn't so much of a problem. And I also think that as an education system, that we are spending 20 years of our life focusing on the future, and then when the future comes, we're worried about family, and then when family comes, we're worried about our child's future. So there's never a time when we're actually enjoying life. But as unschoolers, we're actually enjoying life. We're like, okay, future may we'll do what has to be done, but today let's learn and live. Why should I live my first 20 years of my life for a future which we don't even know how or where that was going to happen? Like I never imagined myself going to run a business, and I don't think sitting and worrying about that as a child would have helped me.
Great, lovely thoughts, and with so much of clarity, that gives so much of happiness around. Anyone else? Would anyone like to ask another question? Oh, so Chetna says, you guys speak brilliantly. Nice hearing to you both. Yes, Ritu, this session is being recorded. Sumit, would you like to go ahead with anything else?
No, I mean, I was like nothing much, but I was just waiting for questions from people. Like I mean, I have asked my questions to Asawari and
Okay, so to both Asavari and Sumedh, is he there? Yes. There is a lot of confusion and this, jargon that we live in: open schooling, unschooling, homeschooling. How do you see it as, is there a difference between homeschooling, unschooling? And how should people prepare for it? Parents, with curriculum, without curriculum. How have you evolved in your journeys, and how do you define it? How do you define your journeys, and how would you explain it to parents who are there, the difference between unschooling and homeschooling?
like homeschooling like is where like a certain learner follows a curriculum like as an NIOS, I mean, or like any learning facility like IGS or something. Nobody follows that, but like he doesn't go to that place where you learn. Like you learn from home, and like I think that's my what understanding. Maybe that's the right definition. And unschooling is and unschooling means that like you have I mean you can learn anything. I mean basically you can, I mean you're free to do anything like by your own choice, like that. And like open learning like is just like unschooling. I mean I think maybe.
Yeah, I think I agree with Sumit. Homeschooling is probably doing the same thing that happens at school, but doing it at home. And maybe unschooling, open learning, or self-directed learning all kind of fall in the similar space where you are not following a curriculum, but we're following the child or the individual who is leading. And that could be a curriculum, that could be something else. So it's really about following I mean, as a learner, it would be following myself. And I think in my experience, what I understand is there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's each family, each individual, how do they want to form or create their own learning. So there's no right or wrong way of doing homeschooling or unschooling, but it's really about how do I want to do it. And one thing that I feel is important, that as parents to have a conversation about it with the child, especially if it's a little older child. Maybe if it's a very young child, you may not be able to talk about it, but but having a conversation with the child and asking what he or she wants to do, how is it that he or she wants to learn, and periodically having this conversation, because it can change, it can evolve as and when, as life is happening, as things are moving. So I would say there's no right or wrong way. It's about doing it the way that you want, because whatever way you choose, I feel it's important to believe in it and to believe in the child and to believe. Because if you're doing it out of disbelief or like then that will pan out, which will not, then it will not be a fun experience for you. So whatever way of education that is happening for you and for your child, it should be something that is fun, that is enjoyable, because that is what is most important, I feel. And so that's why it's important to do something in which you have the confidence in.
Yeah, I want to ask one question, Dipti here. Like I have a daughter of 3 years and I've taken a decision of unschooling. So, but seeing her friends, society friends, and all going to school, having that conversation. So she also tells me, "Mama, when will I go to school? Mama, when will I go?" Like that. So how can I explain her? Like you told now in the Ashita asked question, like we should have a talk, but she is very young. So should I wait, or what should I do actually? Because like as of now I'm telling, yes, now there's a corona situation, COVID situation, the schools are closed, but what later on after 6 months or a year? What can I do about that?
I don't know if I have the right answer to that, but one thought would be to understand what is it that she wants. Is it I mean, she's just 3 years old, so maybe she may or may not completely understand the concept. And also, I think there's nothing wrong with going to school if she wants to. If you really think that's something that she wants to do, then why not let her experience it? I mean, I don't know how feasible or practical that would be, but but I don't see anything wrong with that, because I know me and Sumit experienced school and then we have chosen this. So there's more clarity in our decision. And I also know like a child who was part of Arohi. So she was part of Arohi for a long time. When she was from very young, I think when she was 4 years, since then she was with Arohi, and her parents had decided that for her. And when she grew up 1 year ago, not 1 year, whenever before the pandemic started, she started going to school, because she said, I don't want to do open learning, I want to go to school. And her parents said okay. And then now, because of the pandemic and stuff like that, she's come back to open learning. So it's really been her own journey as to what she wants to do. So I think giving the space for the child to decide what kind of learning they want to do can be one way, but I'm not sure if that's the right way to do it or not, because I've not really been in your shoes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Sumit, I have a question for you. So I know you have been unschooling now and you're preparing for your NIS 10th right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so you've never had a curriculum, you've never had a syllabus, like you don't follow a syllabus, you've not learned anything by books. So how challenging is that for you now that you decided to, go follow a curriculum or learn the subjects according to the curriculum? Do you find it challenging? Is it
I
difficult? Is
mean,
it
like
easy?
I have been to school and the curriculum for till 7th standard. So like I mean there is like no as in like classes and all. I mean they have just given us the books and the YouTube link, and there's no set timing of like when to read, and like and also like I'm like fine with like learning through books like for that. I hope that answers.
So I just wanted to ask, are you feeling it difficult and challenging or it's fine?
It's not challenging, it's fine. Yeah, like I mean like it's a lot of books, but and that's what rent is.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, Amir.
Yeah, Ashwari, I just want to ask that how come you are so clear about what you did, and even in your answer, when even Mongali Garg ma'am asked, or when I asked the question, you are so clear about your thoughts and all this thing. So what the things which help you? Because you are so clear, I can understand. What I try to understand is that let the child decide his own journey. That's what you are trying to say, right?
For me, that was what I did, yes, but I'm not saying necessarily you have to do that for your child. That's up to you and your child as to how you want the child's education and life to be. But I think one of the reasons that I'm so clear about my thoughts is that I do a lot of reflection. So it's a part of my process of being an open learner or self-directed learning. Is a constant reflection, and it is does it. And there are, of course, so many times where I'm so unclear. I'm very much, human as anyone else. I go through the confusion and the ups and the downs. Though I've never regretted not going to school or college. That's one thing I've never really regretted. And the other thing I feel I'm clear about my thoughts is because I have self-confidence. I know the life that I'm living because this is what I have chosen, and I am fully responsible for it. And so because I have confidence in me and I have confidence in the life I'm living in, I am very clear about my thoughts. And it doesn't really matter to me what other people think about my life, because I know I am happy with the way I'm living. So I think that's one of the reasons also.
And is it any one thing which you are doing from your side from unschooling till now? Is it one thing which you do in your life every day or something like that? It can be even yoga or any Bhagavad Gita reading or anything which you do, one thing which you carry on till now.
I think
Which
I
help
think
you.
planning and reflection has been two tools that have all been very helpful for me. Planning my day, my week, my life, everything. And of course, planning doesn't mean that things will go exactly the way they have to go. Pandemic definitely taught me that how much ever I plan, things are going to go the way they have to go, and I cannot change that. But planning and reflection have been two tools that have been really helpful and powerful for me, because it really helps me to connect with myself and to be able to do things.
Great help. This session is really helping me because my child is unschooled. She is 7 years of age. So this help, all the things help me a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samay, for being here. Asavari, when you just said about planning, I think, I was just thinking about Samay, then he appeared. So when, obviously to both of you, when you talk about planning, so we usually hear a lot, and of course, as, out of school learning parents and family, planning does go for a toss, since you're not waking up in the morning and, you have a absolutely flowing day. And another kind of query or anxiety which comes up is like, how do I discipline my child, because there is no morning, no afternoon, no boundary as such. So is this, I know, coming back to you, there is no right or wrong, but this is what we kind of basically feel and live through the day. How do we do it for our young kids? Like my daughter is 4 years old and we're on this path. So do we need to do something different? And is it okay if a family is kind of disciplining in a stronger or a firmer way and another family is a little loose? So is there a parameter? So you've learned planning, or probably even Sumay does it since you've been to school. So as you say that, you've been conditioned. But our kids who've never been to school, in any which way, depend on us. So how do we take that forward?
Honestly, I have not planned that much toward this. Sometimes I do plan my week or my day, but I have some things in mind which I do. I only write it down, but I sometimes plan but don't, and I also as you said, there's no night or morning for me. It's all in one day. I sleep late, I wake up late. I was a early sleeper. I sleep this at 9 before, but now I sleep late, around 1 or 12 or something like that. I don't know, I can think about it, and I can think about why I'm doing this, and can I stop it, or do I want to stop it, like that? It's my choice. I want to sleep at that time.
I would like to add a bit about planning and reflection. I have been this person who never believed in sort of a planning. Okay, why we should plan? Can't I just go with the flow and all those things? But from March that we are traveling with Arohi X as a family, and that's when I realized these little tools of having you need not actually write it down. Planning is not for everyone, it is different. So at least that thought process of what my day or what my week is going to be, and also then reflecting back about like, okay, this is what I had planned, and then why it didn't happen, why it happened, or how it happened, how does it affect me, or if it has happened, how does it affect me, if I couldn't stick to the plan, how it has affected me. All these sort of reflections which from for the past 3 months which I've been doing with for myself to understand planning and reflection, I think has brought us internal structure. Outwardly I'm still the same person trying to go with the flow and all those things, but using this tool, and which the community, the Arohi community keeps reminding you of, because we have an opening circle and a closing circle, where opening circle we plan together, we ask each other questions about our planning and all those things, and again that happens in the closing circle. So I think where this whole anxiety as an unschooling family or an open learning family, which I had earlier, of okay, we are so going with the flow, sometimes we feel that the day was not at all productive according to what we are conditioned to think about. But here because of these small tools which we are following, trying to follow now, we understand that even if the plan didn't go, we understand that productivity was there, and so you're okay with sort of it. So the anxiety is gone. If there is plan or there is no plan, but there is no anxiety around are we doing it the right way. So I think we all of us could try it 1 week and see how it works for every one of us. Yeah, thank you.
And also, like, I just want to add that planning doesn't mean you have to go time wise, like 10 to 11 I'll do this and 11 to 12 I'll do this, but just roughly thinking what is it that I would like to do. And especially with smaller children, it's a fun activity. You can ask them, okay, today what are some of the things I like to do. It could be sleep, it could be play with my dolls, cry, whatever. It could be those kind of things also, and you can write it down for them or draw it in their notebook and stuff like that. But it helps to think about what would I like to explore. And when I start thinking, then I also think about, okay, what else are the things that I could do. And in terms of disciplining that you were asking, again, as you were only saying, there's no right and wrong, and it's about how each family does it. But I also feel that one thing that as a child who is an open learner, and even as a family, we need to understand is that just because we're open learners, that doesn't mean we have freedom without any responsibility. So that doesn't mean we can do anything and everything in our life. It's like I can sit whole day and watch TV, but I cannot help in cleaning the dishes, or I cannot help in cooking in the house. That's because that's how my family values are. So to understand as a family, what is the values that you would like to work with? Is it that you would like to have the value that everyone contributes in the housework? Would you like to have a value that screen time in terms of entertainment is limited? Or is it okay if you feel as a family it's okay that I watch 10 hours of movies? Then I'm not saying that's wrong, but definitely as a family, if the child is too young, then maybe as the parents and whoever is old enough in the family to discuss what are those values that as a family we want to take care of. Because I know in my family, at least, there are these kind of things that we we have the freedom to do whatever we want, but that doesn't mean that me and my brother or even my parents can sit the whole day and watch movies, or we do not help out in I'm not just help out, but we do not give our equal participation in the housework, or we do not participate in family time, or spending time with the family, so those kind of things. Just because we're unschooler doesn't mean those things don't need to happen. But definitely I feel it's not about imposing it on the child, but having a conversation around it. And if I feel as a parent, it's important that the child has only 2 hours of entertainment and the rest time they can spend however they want. It's about communicating that and communicating the reasons, and not putting it as an order that, you are my daughter and you will only watch 2 hours TV and that's the end of it. That's not how I think it should happen, but rather more of a conversation. And it will be difficult. I have slipped up so many times, and I'm sure as adults we all slip up. So I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's about constantly striving to grow, I think.
Thank you, three of you. And another following question, if there is no other question from the viewers.
Yeah,
Oh.
hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I hope, since I'm still continuing with this schooling only, I have not yet done with the unschooling or homeschooling or open schooling, but I have a plan of doing this. But only one thing which keeps on like hunting me is that what will, when the kid grows up and when he or she asks back, why you didn't put me in a schooling? Just because of that, my life is like this. It may be good, it may be bad, whatever it is. If it is good, then I'll be the hero, heroine, whatever. If anything goes in the other way, like, is there any point which will help me with this one? Because this is the one I'm struggling daily. Should I go with this or not? Should I go with this or not? Hope I am clear. Or
what if your child asks you why you put me in school? Yeah, I think one thing that I think is important in open learning is to make it clear to the child as when they are a little older, is also that their learning is their responsibility. So if he or she is deciding to go back to school, that's completely fine. If he or she is deciding not to go to school, like I'm sure at the age that Sumedh is in, his learning is in his hand and he can choose to go to school or not go to school. Of course, a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old may not be able to completely make the decision, but I think that as the child gets a little older, you should start including them in these conversations, and then that's when he or she will realize it's their decision, and then they will not grow up and say that you did something wrong, because they know they took the decisions, and some decisions can be wrong, some decisions can be right. So I think there's a either or to both, but it's important to keep including the children in the conversation. I mean, at whatever level they are. I mean, I'm sure with the age, whatever the conversation can happen.
thank you.
How to join Arohi?
Samir, I've put a link on the chat. You can check that, and also you can see more on the website. Plus, we have webinars every Saturday from, I'm not very good remembering the timing, but you can attend one of those webinars where you will understand open learning and Arohi better. And then the conversation can be taken ahead. There are my parents' contact details on the website through which you can take the conversation with them ahead. Because I'm not so involved in Arohi X, so I'm not the right person to contact.
I'm also sharing the NIOS page where you can see about pursuing 10th or 12th.
Great. Thank you, Sumedh. Thank you, Asavari. Do we have any other questions or queries for our great hosts and teachers for today? No, I think both of you have sorted our lives. So many a people will feel more relaxed and comforting, to take on this journey from here on. Any message that you would, would like to leave for us parents as to, while we're kind of moving on with our journey, anything that you would like to say, the both of you?
Be free. That's my last two words. Be free.
I think for me as parents, if parents can believe that their children are capable and believe that their children are equal to them, then a lot of things can emerge. And of course, that there's no right and wrong in this journey. Because if we start comparing or making it about right and wrong, then it can become very difficult for us. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, for this wonderful evening, and absolutely lovely to hear, from the two of you and knowing your journey. Wishing you all the very best wherever you may go, and hopefully we will stay in touch. And Savari, we will surely miss you the 8-9 months that you're going off. So there's a lot of planning to be done and orders to be made. We'll connect. And have a lovely evening, all of you. Thank you for being here, the viewers. And yes, this will be recorded. We will be putting it up on the tribe social media, as Manali mentioned earlier. And hoping to see you all again with another set of learners from our community, and keep the sessions going on. Thank you. Thank you, Pallavi.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Should I stop the recording? Yeah.
We can do that.